The Montecucco DOC was started at the same time with the Colle Massari history. And it started with a DOC of Sangiovese and other varietals. And then in 2019, it started also the DOCG with the Sangiovese, the Montecucco Sangiovese DOCG. As I was telling you, this is the perfect terroir for Sangiovese and Vermentino. And this is a small producer here, pretty new DOC, not as well known as others here in Tuscany. But the quality, we stand out for quality.
Fascinating people with stories to share, fabulous wines and the best local foods to accompany them, and beautiful places to discover and visit. All of this and more on Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast. Join me for a new episode every Tuesday. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today I'm traveling to Tuscany, to the southern wine hills of Montecucco, to visit my guest Paola Barberi of Colle Massari, which oversees 4 Tuscan wine estates, though our focus this morning is on the flagship Castello Colle Massari. Buongiorno, Anna. Thank you so much for being my guest. How are you today, and is it a beautiful day?
Buongiorno, Marc. Nice to talk to you. Yes, this is a beautiful day in Colle Massari. It's a sunny day. The temperature is pretty warm for being February, and it's fantastic.
Well, that sounds wonderful. It's a little bit gray and cold here in southwest England, and Bea was just telling me that it's pretty chilly and gray in Verona as well. Anna Paola, before we begin our discussions about the estate, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. Have you always lived and worked in the world of wine?
No, I've started working in marketing of different fast consumer goods, but then it's about 15 years that I'm focusing on the wine business. And so it's about 3 years that I'm here in Colle Massari. So I have a experience of 30 years in marketing and communication, but the last 3 years I dedicated everything to Colle Massari. It's beautiful.
Okay, well, it sounds like you have certainly found a beautiful place to work and to live. I'd like our listeners who are located all around the world to gain a vivid impression of this beautiful estate. So can you describe where the Castello Colle Massari estate is and what it looks like, what this ancient property is like and the vineyards around it?
Colle Massari is in the heart of the Maremma region. So we are in the southwestern part of Tuscany. It's an unspoiled terroir. We are about 400 meters in altitude. We're surrounded by these beautiful hills that have meticulously aligned vines and olive oils. We are in an oasis of peace, I would say. We are 1,200 hectares of land, out of which 105 are planted with vineyards and 90 with olive oils. And when you arrive here, you are pretty much overwhelmed by the nature. You feel a sense of reconnecting with the rhythm of nature, and you can master yourself and time. It's a beautiful sensation. It's an immersive experience.
It sounds absolutely beautiful, and you've given us a very vivid picture. And I've seen as well the videos and photos to this beautiful castle on a hilltop. But Anna Paola, we're in a really ancient wineland, aren't we, in La Maremma, with history of wine going back to the Etruscans.
Yes, it is true. And when the family came here, they just found this castle and they just found 12 hectares of vines planted and they start restoring it. And the thing is that we have these beautiful hills around. Then you can see on the background the Mount Amiata, which is a volcanic mountain. And then you can see also the Tyrrhenian Sea on the backside. So it is the perfect place where producing wines. So I bet also in the past, and I'm sure in the past because we have knowledge that wine were made also long time ago.
Okay, well, tell us the more recent history then, Anna Paula, of how the estate, you've mentioned the family finding the estate. Tell us that story.
Okay, everything was started in 1998 by the passion, the deep passion for wine and nature of the Tipa Bertarelli family. So there were Claudio Tipa and his sister, Maria Iris Bertarelli Tipa, that was looking for a place where to produce wines. And they found this, as I said, this beautiful castor with wines. And then they started planting new vines. They start building the wine cellar in back in 2003, which is a cellar constructed by the architect Milesi in accord with the principle of bioarchitecture, and now it's a member of the Toscana Wine Architecture Group. Then they bought Tenuta di Montecucco, which is our hospitality hub now, and they start restoring that, starting from the church and then to all the old buildings. And now, as I said, it's the perfect place where to have hospitality. So in this environment, the fundamental tenets that they follow are their passion, their commitment, and they start to grow the team spirit of the people that worked here.
Okay, that's really interesting. So it's a relatively recent project. We're talking about just over a quarter of a century. What was the family doing before, the Tipa Bertarelli family, before they decided to move into wine?
They were in other business in electronics. Mr. Tipa was in electronics, and then they decided to, when they were on vacation on the Tyrrhenian coast, sailing, because they have a passion for sailing, they wanted to find a land where to start cultivating vines. And so they found this amazing unspoiled area here.
Was the castle run as a wine estate then, or was it in a sort of rundown shape? Did they have to redo everything?
It was in a sort of a rundown place that they started restoring. It took a while, but then they did such a beautiful job. They just started everything from, not from scratches, because as you probably know, here we have probably the oldest vines of Sangiovese, of the old area of the old Maremma regions. We find some clones, masters. We did master selection, but everything was restarted and taken care of with passion from the Tipa Bertarelli family.
Okay. Now, I want our listeners to understand exactly where we are. We're in southern Tuscany in the Maremma, and in this wine zone of Monte Cucco, which is not so well known. Tell us about Monte Cucco.
The Montecucco DOC was started at the same time with the Colle Massari history, and it started with the DOC of Sangiovese and other varietals, and then in 2000, I think 19, it started also the DOCG with the Sangiovese, the Montecucco Sangiovese DOCG. As I was telling you, this is the perfect terroir for Sangiovese and Vermentino, and this is a small, we have small producer here, and it's as you said, it's a pretty new DOC, not as well known as others here in Tuscany, but the quality, we stand out for quality. So, and you know what, since the nature is so prevalent here, and we have organic farming, everything is organic here in Colle Massari and also in the district of Montecucco. The percentage of organic producer is very high.
Okay, that's very interesting. So the Monte Cucco DOC has come really around the time of Colle Massari's involvement. You've been a pioneer
Yeah,
winemaker in helping to put this area on the Tuscan wine map.
it's a sort of renaissance of this area.
Yeah, sure. Now, I know the family have the other estates in Tuscany as well, but would you say there's an underlying ethos and philosophy towards growing grapes and making wines?
Well, yes, the philosophy of the whole group is a passion for sure, but then the respect of nature, the respect of what it has been done before, listening to what the vines and the terroir are saying, and the heritage, maintaining the heritage. And all our estates are organic. And so to show the respect, we have been pioneers of organic agriculture, I think pretty much in all our estates.
Okay, that's very important too, and increasingly important for consumers. Let's dive straight into the Colle Massari wines, starting with perhaps your whites with Melace.
With Melace, oh yes, I love Melace. It's such a vibrant Vermentino. Vermentino finds here in Colle Massari a perfect spot. And it's a wine, a crisp wine with such a minerality. It's a complex aromas. And it's, as I was saying, a fresh wine. It appreciates the warm days that we have here in Maremma, and then the cool nights and the breezes from the sea, because there is a huge difference of temperature between day and night, so that helps the complexity of the aromas.
What was the altitude of the vineyards, did you say? I know you mentioned that. Are
340,
we
40.
okay?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're fairly high then for the vineyards as well, and that's helping to keep
Yes,
that freshness. I love Vermentino as a grape, and particularly these expressions from southern Tuscany, and that sounds a beautiful wine. And we'll talk about pairing wines and foods a little bit later, but I'm sure that is a wine that pairs very well with some of the seafood dishes of your
yes.
area. How about one more white, Anna Paula? Let's talk about Irise.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to share with you a little secret that the name of Iris comes from Maria Iris, which is the name of Maria Iris Bertarelli, the sister of Claudio Tipa, one of the two founders, Maria Iris, of the Colle Massari estate. Iris, it's a Tuscan way to say Iris, Maria Iris, Iris. And it's a unique blend of Vermentino and Grechetto. It has 85% of Vermentino and 50% of Grechetto. It ferments and matures surly for 9 months in large oak casks of 40 hectoliters. And it has a crisp acidity and a good structure and a supple creaminess at the end. It's a very fantastic and unique Vermentino from Montecucco.
Okay, so that Grechetto is giving a little bit more richness and body to the blend.
Yes, and the minerality. It's a duet of those two varietals that make it the uniqueness. And the Grechetto is from the vineyards that are very close in the northern part of the castle. There is this old vineyard of Grechetto.
Are most of the vineyards surrounding the castle, or are they in different parcels around the estate?
The estate is pretty big. As I was telling you, it's 1,200 hectares and hundreds are planted in vines. But the Vermentino, in general, is the one close to the castle. It lays from the castle to the cellar. Usually, the Vermentino vines are facing the Tyrrhenian Sea, the coast.
Okay, okay. Now, I know you produce a range of wines, but I'd like to focus on just two more because we don't have that much time. But that would be the Colle Massari Riserva and then your flagship Poggio Lombrone.
Right, correct. Poggio Lombrone, our crew wines, and the Colle Massari probably is the epitome of our wines. The Colle Massari Riserva, it's a Montecucco Riserva, and it's made of Sangiovese, 80%, and then has a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon and Ciliegiolo, 10% each. It's a daily super Tuscan. It is an intense and aromatic in aromatics and has power and structure. It matures for 18 months in oaks. And then at the end, you have this wine that has ripe red fruits and Mediterranean spices, soft tannins, but a very nice complexity and longevity. It's a wine that it's a pleasure to drink.
I like the idea of a daily Super Tuscan.
Yeah, we call it our daily Super Tuscan because it's the only one that has this international varietal in the blend, the Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's a little bit different from the 100% Sangiovese, Poggio Lombrone, and all the Italian varietals.
Okay, and the Ciliegolo is important in Montecucco, isn't it? It's again a great variety, a traditional Tuscan
Yes.
variety, often found, but it grows very well in your area.
Yeah, we have the chili giallo that contributes in the smoothness and the fruitness. And yes, we use it in this area. We use it in Colle Massari Riserva and also in the blend of our rosé and our rigoletto that are the other two wines that we produce. Yes.
Okay, okay, and let's turn to Poggio Lombrone.
A seductive elegance, Poggio Lombrone. Poggio Lombrone is an homage to the oldest vines that we have here in the at the estate. These vines are more than 60 years long, and they are part of the mussel selection that we did when we arrived, with probably the oldest vines of the old region, the Maremma region. As I said, it's 100% Sangiovese that is fermented in open vats of 10 hectoliters with manual punch downs, and then it matures always in oak for 30 months.
That's the large oak
Yes,
casks.
large oak cask. So before fermentation, punching downs is in open top woods vats, and then it goes in bigger vats of 40 hectoliters. It's a very elegant Reserva that maintains a crisp acidity and supple tannins. It really represents the Colle Massari, the Montecucco di OCG.
Okay, and just to try to give a more of a flavor on this, Sangiovese in the Maremma has a different expression than in nearby Montalcino, for example, or Chianti Classico. Is it a warmer, rounder expression, would you say?
Probably it's a warm and a rounder because here there is more hot weather, more high temperature during the day, even if there is this compensation during the night. But here we are in Maremma where the sun is very powerful.
Okay. Well, I also actually would like, because there's a wine you mentioned, and I have a feeling that will lead well into our discussions on food, which is the rosato you produce. I've tasted some wonderful rosatos from southern Tuscany, and I know it's a wine that works very well in your area. So tell us about the rosato.
The Rosato has pretty much all the varietals that we have here in our estates because it's 70% of Sangiovese, then 50% of the famous Giglio we were talking about, and then 50% of Montepulciano. And it's an easy but crispy and savory rosé that pairs well with food, but it's also a good choice for an aperitif.
Okay. Is it full in color or is it a pale rosato?
It's almost pale, but it still have its own shade of pink because in the years we are trying to subtract and let the wine less on the skins, so it's starting to be less dark color.
Okay. Well, this is a good moment then to turn to some of the typical food of your area of Maremma, but also if there are any typical dishes of Montecucco that go well, pair well with the wines we've just discussed.
Oh, sure. We also have an hospitality here where we have a restaurant. In our restaurant, we have a chef, our chef Michele, that is a very good chef and usually works with the raw materials that are produced here in Colle Massari or in the surroundings. And he works with wild boars, so he makes wild boar stew, then cheeses, local cheeses. Then he makes beautiful pasta, so tortelli, panzanella, tortelli that goes very well with the vermentino, and papa al pomodoro, which is the tomato, sort of real Tuscan tomato soup. And everything is always cooked with our extra virgin olive oil because we produce also extra virgin olive oil. We have here at the estate even three olives that are more than 1,000 years. of age, and they were in the map, the ancient map of 1,000 years ago, and they're still produced extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah, no, that's really important because I know how exquisite and precious the really good estate extra virgin olive oils are. Indeed, as precious as wines in many ways. I love the description of some of your dishes that are so typically Tuscan, the papa al pomodoro, this sort of bread and tomato soup that's such a wonderful vehicle for that beautiful, exquisite extra virgin olive oil.
Yes, of course. And also the panzanella, it's also made, it's like a papa al pomodoro, but let's say more summer style, because you have fresh, crunchy bread and then fresh tomatoes and basil. And with our oil, it's fantastic. But we always use in our restaurant all Tuscan products.
Okay, and this is the unsalted Tuscan bread, is that right?
Yes, right, correct.
Which is something that is it takes some getting used to when we visit Tuscany, but after a day we get very used to it, and I love it when you find that beautiful Tuscan unsalted bread, which is unusual for us.
It also pairs very well with our Tuscan ham. The ham in Tuscany is pretty salted, so also that is very good.
Okay, no, that's a good point because I think the salumi, but also other foods in Tuscany, I do find quite salty, and that unsalted bread is a nice counterbalance to this. So I'm thinking of that wild boar stew going very well with both of those beautiful reds that you described. Is there much fish eaten in your area? You're not far from the coast, are you?
We are not far from the coast, but the culture here in this area, it's not for fish. You have to really go to the seaside to find fish. Here, it's probably more meat, wild boar, game, cheese.
Okay, the pecorino cheeses primarily.
Yes, right, correct. You're right. We have all different pecorinos, the fresh one, the one that ages, the stagionato.
All made from small local farms near you.
Yes, we select the different producer, but they are very close to our estate. And they are all biological. Usually, we prefer to use biological products. So even our selection of cheeses is biological.
And are you also growing vegetables for use in the restaurant?
Yes, we produce for sure farro, and then we also have artichokes, and then we have all the salads, the tomatoes, and everything. We have close to the restaurant. We have a yard where we have all the vegetables.
Well, it sounds absolutely beautiful. And I think this is probably a good time to turn to discussing hospitality because it's really fortunate for our listeners to have the opportunity to visit the estate where there's such a fine restaurant. So, can we talk about hospitality at Castello Colle Massari and indeed in the group?
Yes, of course. After, concentrating on wine, they started to restore and bought a hospitality hub. And now I have the pleasure to introduce you to Nicola Sansone, which is our hospitality director, that can talk better and introduce you to our fantastic world. Nicola?
Hi, Mark. Good morning. Thank you for this discussion. Thank you.
Ciao, Nicola. Nice to have you with us. How are you today?
We are perfectly fine. The weather, as Anna Paola said, is beautiful. It's a very sunny day. All is running well. Thank you.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about the activities you're involved with because it seems that this is a very important part of the Colle Massari experience.
Yes, as Anna Paola said, after all this talk about wine, what could be better to talk about hospitality, to pair it with the hospitality area, which came just after the Colle Massari wine cellar. Let's say they started with not really a renovation, but a restoration of the places. It was like an old hamlet, Borgo, which was used by private family. It's called Tenuta di Montecucco. It's very close by to the cellar. It's just about 2 kilometers. They started a huge restoration of this place in 2010, and they just finished late in 2016-17. At this point, they started to host people in our place. Actually, we do have 22 rooms in the main tenuta and two private villas. really placed in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by vineyards and olive trees.
That sounds incredible, Nicola. I'm just want our listeners to be clear here. The this Borgo Tenuta di Montecucco, is that the right name?
Yes, this is the right name, Tenuta di
Okay.
Montecucco, which is absolutely
Okay.
part of Colle Massari, of the Colle Massari Wine Estates of the group.
Was it abandoned when the family found it? No, people were still living there.
No, it was still with private family there. Just the last family left the Borgo in the 2008, and at this time, just the Tipa family decided to extend, let's say, their business with an hospitality area.
Okay, so that sounds really interesting. And I want our listeners to gain a picture of these borghi that are found in Tuscany that perhaps were almost like mini villages where several families would live together, often working the mezzadria and self contained community. So, in a sense, Tenuta di Montecucco is your own self contained hospitality community now.
Yes,
What have you got there? What do you have there? You have the rooms in the main house, you have the two villas isolated in the beautiful countryside, and at Tenuta di Montecucco is that where the restaurant is located?
yes, correct, Mark. It's a sort of spread out hotel because we have there different buildings, and one building is dedicated to the restaurant. The Ristorante Granali is located in our Frantoio building, and also we have Casa Padronale, which has other rooms. In our tenuta, there is also a church, and also the church was completely restored in the 2010. It's a consecrated church, and this can allow us also to host events like weddings or other private events.
Okay. And is the Frantoio actually still there?
The Frantoio building is still there, but it's no longer used as a Frantoio because we have another Frantoio very close by to the cellar where we can press our olives. We just kept the old names of the building, Casa Padronale and Frantoio, for instance.
Okay, so it's a spread out hotel in this old Borgo with the restaurant, the church, somewhere people can come and relax. Are there other features? Is there a swimming pool, for example?
Yes, of course. As activity, we can talk about the pool. It's a beautiful pool with a nice view on the Ombrone Valley. We have actually just one pool. We have also a gym and some e-bikes to rent to our guests to explore the area in a most appropriate way.
That sounds great. In fact, I was just going to ask you about excursions on bicycles. I'm a cyclist myself, and I would imagine that it's a really beautiful area to explore on bike.
Yes, it is, of course. You can do it on your own with an e-bike. You can also explore all our vineyards, or otherwise, let me say the best way would be to get a guide to explore all the area of Montecucco because, as Anna Paola already said, it's very huge and it's really not yet discovered. So it's a lot to see and to discover here.
Okay, and so you can help with finding a guide as well. What about for people that want to come and just taste wines and not stay? What are the opportunities for tasting wines?
Of course, there is a very strong connection with the wine estate. Everything here in ColleMassari Hospitality is about wine. All our stays might include a bottle of wine as amenities in the room upon arrival. And the main activity we do offer is cellar tours in Colle Massari with a few wine tasting level. And also we have the chance to offer a tour through our old wine estate. You already mentioned Poggio di Sotto and Grattamacco. And this could be a very 2 full days experience.
Okay, so it really is a center for wine lovers to make to. Well, it sounds absolutely beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to add about hospitality, Nicola?
Yes, we are right now working again on the hospitality area, renovating some rooms, and we are really turning it up in a wine relay. It's such an upgrade to our hospitality, just to be on the same level of the wine. And so we will get very soon 6 new suites some with garden view, and some with sunset view. So it's the best way, I mean, to enjoy a good glass of wines and relax in this area, which is really, really, really unique in this region.
Well, that sounds beautiful, and I'm just imagining that glass of wine while watching a beautiful sunset going over the hills. Nicola and Anna Paola, it's been great meeting you both this morning, talking to you and learning much more about not only Castello Colle Massari, but also about Monte Cucco, this less well-known part of southern Tuscany that really is somewhere that wine lovers should discover, because it's not easy to find places in Tuscany that are still undiscovered. I would love to come and visit you and see this Borgo and the castle myself and taste your wines, and I'm sure our listeners will too. So thank you very much for taking us to your world.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our territory, and you are more than welcome to come and see us anytime, and all our listeners as well, and to come and discover Colle Massari.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Whenever you want, we are here.
Great. I'll look forward to that. And in the meantime, I hope you have a very good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank
to you too.
Likewise. Thank you.
Okay, buona giornata.
Buona giornata a tutti.
We hope today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast has transported you to somewhere special. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.